The rain came down in a steady mist over the New Orleans tarmac, softening the glow of city lights and painting the pavement in shifting reflections. Inside Louis Armstrong International Airport, Elijah Brooks adjusted the strap of his weathered duffel bag and made his way through Terminal B. His steel-toe boots squeaked against the polished floor, each step purposeful, measured. He wasn't a man used to wasting time. At 39, Elijah didn't believe in luck anymore. He believed in decisions and consistency. And this day, this flight, mattered more than most. Flight 389 to Raleigh. Final boarding in just under 25 minutes. He scanned the overhead signs, calculated his distance to the gate, factored in the TSA checkpoint ahead, and tightened his grip on the strap slung across his shoulder. One son, a mother with rising medical bills, and a single shot at a dream job as a senior technician with Eastline Motors. The offer wasn't flashy, but it was everything: steady hours, paid time off, decent insurance. It meant saying yes to soccer games and no to exhausting double shifts. It meant reclaiming time he'd been forced to trade away. Elijah spotted a shorter line near the far wall and pivoted quickly, his boots echoing across the floor. He was almost there when he saw her. An elderly woman stood beside the security stanchions, dwarfed by a trio of mismatched suitcases. Her coat, once a proud shade of navy, now faded and lined with wear, hung slightly off one shoulder. Wisps of silver hair escaped from the loose bun pinned at the nape of her neck. She tried to lift the largest bag onto the conveyor, but her hands trembled under the weight. People passed her without pause. Businessmen in Bluetooth meetings. A couple chasing a squealing toddler. A TSA agent barking about belts and laptop trays. No one even looked. Elijah slowed. He glanced at the clock. 22 minutes. He could still make it if he cut through the right queue, avoided delays. But something in the woman's face stopped him cold. Not the age. Not the struggle. The look, an expression of quiet dignity cracking under the pressure of needing help. He'd seen that same look in his mother's eyes when the power company refused another extension. He stepped toward her. "Ma'am," he said gently. "Need a hand with those?" She looked up, startled at first. Her eyes were a piercing blue, sharp despite the wrinkles around them. She studied him, not rudely, just with the kind of clarity that comes from being overlooked too many times. "Well," she said with a tight, uncertain smile, "I wouldn't say no. These things seem heavier than they were this morning." He smiled back and hoisted the suitcase effortlessly. "Heading somewhere exciting?" he asked as he placed it on the belt. "Business," she said, almost dismissively. "Though at my age, everything starts to feel the same." She stepped through the scanner slowly, wincing as she raised her arms. Elijah waited, gathering her bags on the other side. A security officer gave him a look, impatient, annoyed, but he ignored it. "Gate 54A," she murmured, squinting at her crumpled boarding pass. Elijah winced internally. That gate was nearly the farthest point from where they stood, 2 concourses over and a tunnel away. He could still make his own flight. If he ran. If everything lined up just right. He looked at her again, struggling to fasten her purse. His mother's voice echoed in his mind. Your father never walked past someone hurting. Not once. Even when it cost him. He adjusted his duffel. "Gate 54A? Huh? That's a bit of a walk. I'll take you." "Oh, no," she replied quickly. "You don't have to." "You didn't ask," he interrupted, smiling. "Besides, my mom raised me better than to walk away." She gave him a look of genuine surprise, then extended her hand. "Claire," she said simply. "Elijah," he replied. "Let's get you to that plane." They moved together through the terminal, her steps slow but determined. He matched her pace, ignoring the pull of urgency in his gut. Once, she apologized for slowing him down. He just waved it off. It's not about speed. It's about direction. Midway through the journey, Claire's steps faltered. "I didn't eat this morning," she muttered, swaying slightly. "That wasn't very smart of me." Elijah immediately guided her to a bench near a food kiosk. "Sit," he said. "I'll get you something." He returned with a cup of hot tea, a granola bar, and a blueberry muffin. "Fresh this morning," he lied with a grin. She took them, bemused. "What brings you here today?" "Interview," he said, settling next to her. "Big one." "Eastline Motors." Claire glanced up at the overhead screen. "Flight 389 to Raleigh. Final call." Her eyes flicked to him. "That's yours, isn't it?" Elijah hesitated, then nodded. "Was." She looked stricken. "You missed it. Because of me." "You needed help," he said quietly. "That was more important." She said nothing for a long moment. Just watched him, expression unreadable. Finally, he stood and gathered her bags again. "Let's get you to that gate." They arrived just as pre-boarding began. Claire looked relieved. Elijah guided her to a seat near the window and placed her carry-on carefully by her feet. "You sure you'll be all right?" she asked. He nodded, even as the weight of the missed opportunity pressed down on him. "I've missed flights before. Life moves on." He didn't mention his phone battery flashing red, or that he'd spent the last of his cash on tea and muffins, or that the prospect of sleeping in the terminal was quickly becoming reality. Claire rummaged in her bag and pulled out a small notepad. She scribbled something on a sheet, folded it, and pressed it into his hand. "You'll need this later," she said. "What is it?" "A thank you. In case we don't meet again." He tucked it into his wallet and helped her to the boarding line. She moved slower now, but with quiet resolve. As she handed her ticket to the agent, Elijah caught a glimpse of the screen. First class. He blinked. That didn't add up. Her coat, her shoes, her suitcase. None of it screamed first class. But he said nothing. Once she disappeared into the jet bridge, Elijah wandered the terminal in a daze. His phone died. His stomach twisted with hunger. He found a bench near baggage claim and collapsed into it. Just a few minutes, he told himself. He fell asleep. When he woke, the sky was darker, lavender fading into navy. The airport had quieted. He reached into his wallet and unfolded Claire's note. "Stay right here. I'll find you." No name. No explanation. Just 6 words. He blinked. Read it again. Maybe she meant it metaphorically. Maybe it was just kindness. But something about her tone. An hour passed. He started looking for corners to crash in when the terminal doors opened. A black sedan pulled up outside. "Elijah Brooks?" a driver asked, stepping from the car. Elijah blinked. "Yeah, Miss Claire Whitaker sent me. Your ride's ready." Claire stepped from the back seat, now dressed in a crisp blazer, hair pinned neatly, the kind of elegance that belonged on magazine covers. She smiled. "I told you I'd find you. You were flying to New York. I made a stop. Where are we going?" "Raleigh. Tonight." "But how?" "My plane," she said simply. He followed her to the private terminal. A sleek jet awaited them, its gold emblem gleaming under floodlights. Inside was a lounge more than a cabin, leather seats, rich wood, soft lighting. They took off smoothly. "Somewhere over Georgia," she turned to him. "You know aircraft engines?" He shrugged. "Cars mostly." "Close enough," she said. "We're building training centers, Ghana, Colombia, Vietnam. I need someone who gets machines and people." She slid a folder across the table. "Director of Global Technical Training, Aurora Aviation Initiative." He stared. "I want you to lead our Ghana site," she said. "You'd help others start over. The pay's better. Housing included. Schooling for your son. But more than that, purpose." He looked out the window. I need to think." "Of course," she said. "Start with the job interview. Then decide." The next morning, he stood in the polished lobby of Eastline Motors, folder in hand. The interview went well. They offered decent pay, long hours, and a job beneath a supervisor half his age with a fresh degree. He asked for a day. That night, Claire invited him to dinner at a rooftop restaurant overlooking Charlotte. When he told her the offer, she nodded. "It's honest work," she said. "It'll keep your lights on. But is it your ceiling or your floor?" He looked out at the skyline, then at the folder again. "If I take your offer, I'm leaving everything behind." "No," she said. "You're walking towards something greater." He picked up the pen and signed. 18 months later, Elijah stood on a balcony in Accra, Ghana, watching the sun rise over the new Aurora training facility. His son attended a nearby school. The center thrived. Trainees rebuilt engines with confidence. Claire visited that morning. Now 73, she moved with care but radiated quiet strength. "You belong here," she told him. "I feel like I do," he replied. As she left, she turned one last time. "Sao Paulo's next. We break ground in 5 months. You offering me that too?" he asked. "I'm offering you the choice." He smiled. "I'll think about it." She rolled down her window. "And Elijah, thank you for carrying my bags." Then she was gone, and Elijah turned back toward the hangar, where 30 futures waited, ready to rise. Because sometimes, missing a flight means catching the one that was always meant for you.